Hi, it's Summer, and today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. This is a tag that I've been doing ever since I first started on BookTube back in like 2016. I've pretty much deleted all of those videos now, but this is just one of my favorite tags to do every year. Question number 1 is, what's the best book you've read so far this year? Up until I was planning this video, I felt like I was having like a pretty solid reading year. But now that I've like looked at Goodreads and was trying to like pick what my favorite book is, I don't really feel like I've read that many like really awesome books this year, and I really want to change that for the second half of the year. Luckily, I did find a new like all-time favorite, so this is definitely my favorite book so far this year, and it's Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. And I'm really just applying like the whole entire series to this question too. I love all of these books. They're all new all-time favorites. This is also not the last time you're going to see this book in this video, so I'm not going to talk about it too much right now. I'm assuming that everybody already knows what Heartstopper is. If you don't, I've talked about it in other videos. Question number 2 is, what's the best sequel that you've read so far this year? And I'm definitely giving that to Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. I read the first book in the Brown Sisters series back in 2020 and loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I've been meaning to get to the rest of the books in the series for a while now, so I'm so glad that I finally read one of them this year and I loved it. I gave it like a 4.5 out of 5 stars. The only thing that I didn't love about it was some of like the language that was used for some of the sex scenes. But it seriously was just like so cute. It's about Danny Brown, who's like a college professor, and Zaf, who is one of the security guards at the university that she works at. There's like some fake dating. It is so spicy. Zaf is just like a sweetheart, and he reads romance novels. Also, I love that Danny was a witch. I just love a witchy book. And I don't remember if I already said there was fake dating, but fake dating. One of the best tropes ever. Number 3 is a new release that you still need to read. It's definitely Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel is tied for my favorite book with The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I really love her writing. I love her storytelling. She came out with a book in 2020 that was my most anticipated book of the year, and I still haven't read that one. And I've heard from a lot of people that this book means more and is a little bit more fun to read if you've read both of her previous books. So I need to read this, but I also still need to read The Glass Hotel, and I feel kind of overwhelmed. It's honestly like a pretty short book though, so I feel like I could get through it pretty quick. From what I can tell, this is multiple POV, and it's kind of also like a post-apocalyptic book like Station 11. I also really like this cover. I think it's really pretty. Number 4 is, what's your most anticipated read for the second half of the year? That is 1000% It Girl by Ruth Ware. I think it comes out on July 12th. Last year, I finished reading all of Ruth Ware's backlist, so I read everything by her, and I am obsessed with her writing. Her thrillers are my favorite. She's just like an all-time favorite author of mine. And I'm so excited for It Girl because I feel like every single book that she comes out with, I like more than the last. Except for One by One, I didn't like that as much as The Turn of the Key, but like, honestly, I don't know if anything's gonna beat The Turn of the Key for me. Like, that's a top 5 favorite book for sure. I recommend it to like everybody, but you can just tell that she's growing so much as an author with each book, and I'm just so excited to read It Girl. I actually think that I'm gonna listen to this one on audio though, because I've listened to all of her books on audio so far. I really love the narrator that she picked for all of them, and it's just been a really fun reading experience so far, so I think that's how I also want to experience this one. Number 5 is your biggest disappointment. That one is going to go to The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I think that I just went into this book with too high of expectations because of what everybody on the internet says about this book. I went into it thinking it was going to just like ruin me and make me cry and feel so emotional. I've also just heard that it's like so many people's favorite book, so I kind of just went into it with those thoughts, and I gave it like a 3.5. I think it was just okay. I thought it was fun and different than anything that I've read. I liked the relationship, but it was just kind of okay. Number 6 is Biggest Surprise, and I'm gonna give that one to House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. It's not so much that the book itself was a surprise, it's just that some of the things that happened in it like really surprised me. More like one thing really surprised me. And right after I had finished it, I was excited by the surprise. But now that I've had some time away from it, I'm really not excited about the surprise. It shouldn't have been a surprise, I should have seen it coming. Number 7 is your favorite new author, and I think that I would have to pick Alice Oseman and Talia Hibbert for this. I feel like I've read enough of both of their books now to say that they're favorite authors, and I probably will read a lot of their other stuff. I have really enjoyed their writing styles and their characters, and I'm just really excited to see what else they have. Number 8 is your newest fictional crush, and I definitely I'm gonna pick Zaf from Take a Hint, Danny Brown. He is just like such a sweetheart with Danny. I also loved that when she just kind of like brings up that she does witchcraft, he doesn't even like act weird about it. He's just like, oh cool, like tell me about it. Like, he's not judgmental of her interests. I also just love that he reads romance, like I said earlier. I'm also gonna add Darius from Zodiac Academy though, because like, he is so hot. Like, You kind of hate him in the first couple of books though, honestly, but like, oh, he grows on you. Number 9 is newest favorite character. I told you it was gonna show up again. Nick and Charlie. Honestly, all of the characters from this series, I just love them. Number 10 is a book that made you cry, and Heartstopper definitely made me cry a couple of times. Happy tears, luckily. And it wasn't like a full-on ugly cry or anything. It was just kind of like misty eyes, maybe a single tear rolled down my cheek kind of a thing. Number 11 is a book that made you happy, and you guessed it, Heartstopper again. This is genuinely one of the happiest books I've ever read. I just feel like this series doesn't really mess with your emotions so much as far as like, will they end up together? Won't they end up together? Like, it just gives you what you want, and it's so satisfying, and it's so nice just to be able to read something that is just happy. The first like 2 to 3 books are definitely more of like the happier ones. The 4th one gets a lot heavier, but even in those darker times, you see like the love and support that those characters have for each other, and that just makes you happy that somebody has such a great support system. Number 12 is the most beautiful book that you've bought this year, and I have 2 that I want to show. The first one is A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy I. Lin. I'm actually currently reading this one right now. I'm about halfway through. I'm really liking it so far. I just feel like the colors and like the movement in this just really work with what the story is about too. Like, this cover just fits the vibe of the book, I think. This book is an Asian-inspired fantasy, and the magic system is based around tea, and it's so cool. I do have a few complaints about it, but overall I'm really liking it so far. This next one is 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim, and this cover is so beautiful. I think I ordered this from Book Depository. This was also like 100% a cover buy. I didn't even know what this book was about when I bought it. I have a good track record of liking Asian-inspired fantasy though, so I feel like I will like this one. The back says, Princess in exile and a shape-shifting dragon, 6 enchanted cranes, and an unspeakable curse. It will take more than magic to find their way home. And then the last question, number 13, is what books do you still need to read for the second half of the year? The first book on my list is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This book has been so popular on the internet, and pretty much everybody that I've seen talk about it has given it 5 stars. This book will be my first time reading Emily Henry, and I just really want to see what all of the hype is about. I also really want to read Verity by Colleen Hoover. I have really loved Colleen Hoover in the past, and both of my cousins have really liked this book, and so I want to read it just based off of their recommendation. I also want to read The Bridge Kingdom. This is by Danielle L. Jensen. This is my cousin Allie's copy that she's letting me borrow, and she's also gonna let me borrow Book Lovers and Verity, so she's the best. I have no idea what this is about, but Allie and I have really similar taste in like high fantasy romance, so I'm really excited to pick this one up. I also really want to pick up Shiver by Junji Ito. This is my very first manga that I've ever purchased, and I've already flipped through the first few pages, and I'm so excited to read this. It's like a horror anthology, and I've just heard really great things about this author, so I'm very excited, and I will definitely be reading this very soon. The last book that I want to mention on this list is Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. I have already read this whole entire series, but I've never reread it. With a few of the things that are starting to happen in this universe, I wanted to reread this series and kind of like refresh my memory a little bit. I also kind of wanted to see if this series stands the test of time. When I very first picked up the first book back in like 2016 or 17, I could not put it down. Like, I literally brought it to work with me and was reading it at work, and then I got my boss to read it after, and I like could not stop thinking about it. And so I'm just really excited to like revisit this world again. That's the end of the tag though. I'm gonna put all of the information for this tag in the description in case you want to do this too. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.